I'm gonna anyway. Hate to be a little drum, but I just I've been watching a couple of news articles this weekend and last night, and the country's really getting crazier and crazier. So, and I'm saying the same thing in hopes to get people's attention, because we need to have a united middle class. A united and healthy middle class creates a strong America. And you have to listen to who wants that to happen and has ways of making it happen. And then we need to vote people in and vote people out according to their strengths or weaknesses. And it's going to take some time to get finally a handle over our political system, because we have no handle over this. And the founding fathers gave us this. We owe it to them. They weren't perfect people, and they were elites, but they at least saw that this country, the middle class of this country, needs to run the important issues directed by our politicians. And just like you have a head of a company and you have the crew of a company, if that's not going right in a company, one or the other, that company goes out, right? Well, this country is much, obviously a whole different scenario, but it matches a bit, because we're on the way to communism right now, or socialism, and there's no getting around that fact that either we come together and we pull together and we look out for our neighbors and we talk to each other and we do those things that our founding fathers gave us the freedom to do, or we don't have a society anymore. Anyway, we're going to start getting this down. I'm still working on some lighting. Barbie's moving to California, so she's going to be producer Barbie remote. But I think we might be able to get her on camera this way. So with all of that said, you guys have a great weekend. Say hi to each other. Go out and say hi to somebody. Just wave at them, man. Start that way. Just wave at them. Every time you see them, wave at them if you don't know them. And then you'll see the reaction change, evolve. You'll see the body language evolve. Go out and say hi to a couple of people today. Anyway, love you guys. Thanks for being here.
Hi, I'm co-host Emma, and my grandpa Rod should be here in a second.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go longer. I was gonna give you a long runway there. Seeing how this is my fault, I'm so sorry. My granddaughter, just to show how good she is. It is 100%. I was sitting there. I was working on something. Actually, I was working with an old high school friend that's a senator in where's he at? Minnesota, I think. But I was talking to somebody in Texas, and my granddaughter calls. I said, "Oh, hey, girl, how you doing? What's up?" And she goes, "Well, should we get on a little bit?" Or she was asking about a couple of things. Well, do you think we should get on? It's 1 minute after 11. And I said, and I thought I was going to teach you something. I was going to, oh, how wrong you are. And I look at my clock and I go, oh my God. So yeah, we're here because of her. We always have been, but even more so. So Emma, talk to us. Tell us what's going on. Give us some background about you. Let's keep reinforcing that. I want to talk about schools today. There's a lot going on in your life with schools.
Background about me,
yeah, the whole thing. Some people, you know how we do on the show. So when guests come on, and you're not a guest, you're a co-host, but people are still learning about you. I've been telling them about me for a year and a half. They're probably sick about hearing my story, because new people come on. Sometimes people are not listening when things are happening, all that. I hope we're on the right show. Oh, I saw a couple of people come on. It's unusual. So few people. This is called, which one's this one called? What's the name of the show? Part 6. Okay. Yeah. No. So we're good. All right. Well, anyway, I've been telling about myself for a year plus, and I love doing that. You you know how that is.
Hmm.
Why don't you take a little bit of a lead from me and tell them about yourself so we can get into a little bit of background and why you are who you are, so to speak, what put you on today's moment, meaning now just junior and high school moment. What was the stuff before?
Um, I don't know, like,
Oh, come on, that was a good lead in. Come on.
but like, there's just like, it's such an open-ended question,
Way
like,
open-ended.
just,
So what's your okay? Let me give you some lanes, some channels here. What for people who don't know, we just got a bunch of people starting to jump on now, so that's good. About 30 people right now. But for people who don't know you, what we'll wait for the school stuff. What are your favorite animals, and what are some animals you're associated with that are not your favorites?
okay,
Let's do
but I
that
could,
for a
I
second.
could,
Let's
I
hover
could.
around that.
Okay, I know. Okay, my favorite animal, I like cats a lot. They're really easy to work with. Like, I don't like dogs at all.
Not
They're
on the show, they're
stressors.
not, Emma. You have one marshmallow young fellow that loves to be more on the show than my dogs do. But go ahead, go ahead.
Well, yeah, but they just like I feel like dogs are so much messier, and with the cat, like
Oh yeah.
he's a little right now, so we do have a litter box, but like once they're older, we let them go outside to do their business, so it's just way less of a mess compared to a dog. Um,
With that rhymed. Way less of them. Sorry, go ahead. Go
way
ahead.
less of a
So
mess.
cats are your favorite like home animal.
And
And
I
any
do,
other animals?
um, I don't know. I don't really. I want like a bird. I want a bird really bad.
I was thinking that. I don't know why, but that came to mind. But you don't like all birds, right?
No, I don't. Like I would
You're
want
not
like
a,
a
oh, I
parrot.
shouldn't say it that way. You're not a huge fan of all birds, and yet you've got an assortment around of sorts, don't you?
Yes, I have like my dad has like 20 something chickens, 30 something chickens, and then he has two ducks. I like the ducks. The ducks are cool. They're funky looking. They have like
Ducks
little
are cool.
extra hair at the
I've never
top.
seen them. They're new additions. Oh, sorry. Say
Yes.
that again. They have a what? I didn't
They
see
have
that.
little
What?
hair, like they have a hair puff on the top.
Oh,
They have
so
like
they've
a
got fashion.
yeah, they do. They're extra, they're fancy. And then we have two turkeys. And we used to have like
Oh,
20 something quails, but my dad gave those ones away.
oh, the quails are gone.
Yeah, the quails are gone.
Oh, those were my
Yeah.
favorite.
I
So
think he
wait, what
gave
happened with the pair? Sorry, go ahead.
I think he might have gave some of them to Dylan and Michelle.
Oh,
Or he might have gave
gotcha.
some of the chickens to John, Dylan, and Michelle, but I know he did give away the quails. He didn't, because they wanted turkeys and ducks, so they didn't have enough room because the quails are in the side of the house in that thing.
They
So
are.
yeah,
Yeah, you've got that whole section down the side and over in the back, and got a lot of that going on where I have moved to too. There's a lot of chickens out here.
yeah.
I
We
get
we
my
used to
morning
have
call.
we used to have a rooster, but we don't have one anymore because our neighbors got a rooster, so they would just like fight all day, and my mom was tired of it, so she just didn't want the rooster anymore. But that rooster still goes off sometimes.
It's
Like people
hilarious.
come over to my house and they always say how they get woken up by it, but like I never do. And I think I'm used to it, but I just like I never gotten woken up from the roosters like ever before. And people always come over and they're like, "Oh, the rooster's so loud." And I'm like, "Is it?"
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying because that rooster, I mean, he just went off a little bit ago. You can't hear.
Hmm.
It's a little ways away. It's not California. We've got a little bit of
Yeah.
acreage out here or some land, but I can hear him throughout the day, and he's pretty substantial. He used to have two, same thing. They would fight, and he's got a bunch of hens. But I have never been woken up by that thing in the morning. I've been up in the morning at say 4 or 5, and I've
And
heard
then
it
you
go off.
hear
But you're
them,
right;
but
you get used to it. Yeah, yeah. But you get used to it. It doesn't wake you up. That's crazy, huh?
yeah. But it's weird because I don't think I ever would get woken up from the roosters. Like I don't think I ever would get woken up from them before. So
Yeah. Well, you've been there well, you haven't been there that long. And in Ontario, you didn't have roosters around you, nor in Fullerton, right? Should
you know.
we're giving a little bit of history here. We should probably be, I don't know why, but just dropping names of people in cities just because we don't know who. Yeah, we got 100 people out there. You know, you never know.
I never lived in Ontario.
Yeah, you. Oh, was it Chico?
Chino.
Chino. There we go.
Yes.
Chino.
Yes. It was Chino.
Yes. I
Yes.
love.
I lived in
And
Chino
there
for
was
about
nothing around there. I mean, you're in a community like
yeah, I lived in
around.
there for like 2 years, and the community that I lived in, it was like really, really new. Like they had just made it. Like nobody had lived like in our apartments that we got in before. It was really new. It was fancy. It was nice.
They were beautiful. I like them. Yeah,
It was such a nice
like
place. I went over there
three
not too long ago.
levels.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
you
went.
went back over there?
Yeah, I went back over there to go at the pool with my boyfriend. I went to the pool over there, and it was so nice. It's so nice over there.
That's beautiful. I love
Yeah.
that area. And that's where a lot of your friends, right? That's why you're going back to another school. We got a couple of questions coming up, but let's keep going on with this for a little bit
Well,
longer.
okay. I didn't really like the people in Chino, so I don't really talk to anybody from Chino.
Okay, so how'd the whole Ontario thing connect then? I'm confused because most of your friends are at that school, are from
Yeah,
that, go to that school.
no, Ontario, no. Okay, wait. You're
All right.
all
Well,
over the place
you're probably
today.
right. I may be totally wrong. I'm just totally
I know
confused. So
one of my friends goes to Ontario. Um,
it's
that's
one.
mostly why the reason that I go there. She's not from Ontario. She's from my other school, but she moved over there, and she's been trying to convince me to go there for a while. And clearly, I didn't like the last school that I was at, and my mom was like, "I don't
You
want
think?
you." I literally texted my mom
Let's
like
not
the
bring that school's name up, okay?
okay. I texted my mom like the last day I was there. I was like, I hate this school and everyone in it. And like I had gotten my two of my phones taken and my AirPods, and she went to go pick it up, and she went in and it smelled like cat litter. And like after me texting her day and day I hated the school, and then she walked into the school for the first time and it smelled disgusting, she literally moved me out. Like like that convinced her to move me out. So
You know what's interesting in that, and we'll move on, but stay right here. What's it because I want to talk about it later. So I just want to put an explanation. I apologize for interrupting. But charter schools are all the rage, right? I mean, that's the alternative. So we really have to be careful, even within the educational system that we have. You and I have, and everybody has experienced how poorly it is
yeah.
done. But then charter schools are the great thing, and I've experienced the same thing with a young man that you're going into the school, and the reputation is that it's the next level of education, it's the next best thing.
Hmm.
Don't name the name, but just give a description as you go back at what you're doing now. When you she called me when you guys left,
She
and
did.
so yeah, she did. I no, sorry. We talked that day, and then she had to get off, and then yesterday we talked. She told me
Yeah,
all about
cause
this.
that
So
day.
describe it, but don't name it or where it is,
Okay,
please.
so the school, it is like an art school, and I think
This is
it
our
is.
school system, guys. This is our school system, right? It's a charter, but it's a directed art, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. So it's an art school, and I mean it's pretty cool like for the art
Mm-hmm.
part of it. Like I
Mm-hmm.
was in photography and I found that cool, but it's just wasn't the photography wasn't worth staying at the school. Like I could just find out how to use a camera a different way. But
Yeah, the level of educate. Are you saying then that the level of education you could have learned
yeah,
that at home?
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean I like
that's a first strike.
even the teachers, like they would say how like the school is like a shit show. Like they would say it all the time, and like they would talk about how teachers leave all the time and all this stuff. And It just
I've
like
been through that same thing.
yeah, and the school was really, it was tiny. So I went from like a school that was like 2,000 students, 3 floors on a whole hill, football field, basketball field. I went from a really giant school to a school that is half of that football field. So like I really
Of the
wasn't used to
football
that.
field itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And it was
And
indoors.
it was indoors in like two different buildings across the street or something like that.
Yeah, so both of those
Kind
buildings
of
combined
cheesy.
were literally just like half a football field. Like it was very, very like it was very, very tiny. It was very crowded, even though it was two like different ones. Like if right as you walk out of class, like you literally have to move through people. And it's like I had been used to that because I did go to a big school with a lot of people, but it was like the way that it was indoors and it just smelt bad. And especially like when it was lunchtime, it smelled disgusting and all the teachers would talk about how it smelled disgusting and like my mom had walked in and it smelled like cat litter and she was like why does it smell like that to the office ladies and they were like they just had
Listen,
lunch and she
guys,
was
listen, hold on. Listen to what she's going to say. The reason it smells like cat litter. And this
yeah.
is a public school. It's a charter school, right? So you
Mhm.
have to get a certificate or something, but it's paid for by the taxpayers, right?
Mhm.
It's just a
Yeah.
different form of education,
Mhm.
however you want to look at it. So
So
why
she
did
walked in
the
and
lady
it's
tell your mom?
so she walked in and it smelled like cat litter. And usually it smells bad, but it never smells that bad. Like even I had walked in because I went to the other building, but they were like, oh no, you don't come over, you come back. So I went to the other building and it smelled like cat litter. Like it was disgusting. And it just the one day that my mom decided to come into the school, it smelled like that. And she asked the office lady, she was like, why does it smell like that? And they're like, oh, they just had lunch. And she was like,
Boom.
why does your lunch smell like cat litter? That makes no sense, like at all.
Yeah, that's our nutrition system within the school system. Probably varies from place to place and different things, but still, that's kind of a horrific story. Well, let's go back to the schools if you don't mind, if that's okay. Do you mind? Because we already got like 10 questions here, and a
Okay.
lot of them are about some of the things we've talked about before. Do you mind going into that? And then because we haven't you've had a couple days at the new school and I'm sure it's awesomeness
This is my first day.
compared.
My first day was
Oh,
yesterday.
yesterday was, oh, I thought it was
Yeah.
your second. Okay.
So, I went to my other school on Wednesday and then that happened and my mom called me out sick on Thursday. And then on Thursday
Boom.
like on Wednesday
Don't
we
get into
literally
the background. Don't get in the background of how you were able to pull that on off. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, no, I'm just gonna say like what my mom did, but not like what I yes.
Too
Okay.
much. Just go on. We're getting caught into something that isn't shady, but we're making it sound pretty
No, I'm
shady,
not.
damn it.
I'm not. No,
No, I
okay.
am too. I'm the one who said it.
So Wednesday, that happened. So literally Wednesday, she
Yes.
started figuring out like, okay, what school are you gonna move to? What school are you gonna move to? And
Oh,
it was either
mom's a
that
thinker.
or another school. And I didn't want to go to that school because I didn't know anyone there, and it just wasn't the right one. And she was like, you know what? I don't want you in Pomona. Like, she didn't want me in my district. So she just fully moved me districts. But um, and then
Okay, good.
Thursday she
That's
called
good
me
right
out
there.
sick. Okay, well Thursday she called me out sick and we got it all done in a day and then I went on like Friday.
That's crazy. And how it all came together is crazy. And that's a story in the green room only.
Mhm.
Um, but what's interesting is the the school system is I mean, just this little story you're talking about here, it's just so broken and so, back in the day, it had a structure, and that's what was important about school is learning structure. I don't know what's going on with the whole system today at all. You agree with that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy all over. I mean, let me now. I told you we're going to talk about fashion, and I put that in some of the things. So we're gonna probably jump around a little bit. Um, you've talked about this before. Do you want to read this?
How do teens balance personal style versus peer pressure? Um, how do teens balance personal style versus peer pressure. We talked about this before. What did I say? So
Not exactly. Now, as you read it better than I was reading it. He's kind of, I think, Richard is combining a couple things, because personal style, meaning I'm assuming dress and style, just how you carry yourself, versus peer pressure. And some of the things we've talked about in that area is, if people are making you change your style that you're uncomfortable with, you're not with the right peers, right? There was that, but this is kind of I don't know, almost two separate. Don't you feel like it's two separate questions? Although he's saying balancing personal style, it could be a lot of things. Why don't you choose what do you think he's doing versus peer pressure?
But I still have like the same answer, because I said for balancing
Okay.
personal style, like I said, you kind of just got to find yourself on what your style
Correct.
is without
Yes.
anyone else's opinions but yours. And then for peer pressure, if somebody's peer pressuring you or something like that, that's not your person.
Yeah. That group or that person is not your, if they're going that direction, it's time to make your change, right? And you know what, that may happen throughout life, because as you grow as a person, if your people aren't growing, I mean, you see it as an adult. There's this thing on social media, and there's this woman, and the camera's just on her, and you can tell it's one of those circular booths. You've seen those big circular.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of people around. They're not in the shot, but they're just off camera, and they're talking and chatting. And all of a sudden, you see her look up, and she kind of gets this look over her face, and then it reads something to the effect, I don't remember the exact wording. It's at one point you realize that your people are no longer, that these are no longer your people. So then peer pressure would come back. If you're growing into a place and they're going a different direction, that's where the most likely peer pressure would come from, right? And some of it would come from, especially if you're doing better and they're not, then they don't want to have that looking at them in the face every day. Is that all part of that? Can you expand on that from a smart person versus
I'm a
me?
smart person.
Versus
You're
me.
well beyond me. But
Oh, come on, girl. You know you better than anybody else in the world, right?
so you're saying, like, once you realize you're getting peer pressured, you realize those aren't your people?
No, I'm no. Well, I mean, that's a good point. That is a good point. However, what I'm saying is, the whole peer pressure and personal development and self-image and all that. Wait, I jumped ahead. I got to go back to Richard. I was adding Gerard's in there because we're going to go on. But sorry, Richard, how do you balance personal style with peer pressure? So this, through everybody's life, your friends will change throughout life, maybe less and less and less. Like some of your high school friends will still be in your life. I was telling you before the show, Sean, a very good friend of mine, way back from high school, we're on the wrestling team together. He's a Mormon. He went away on the Mormon thing and everything. So we lost touch, but we got back in touch. So that, and then college, a few more in that. And then afterwards you have close friends that stay with you in family, right? That's kind of the structure of life. But going through that, I don't know, channel, going through that life, you're going to be changing, assuming you are changing and you're improving yourself and you're doing this and you're accomplishing that. Unless your same group of friends are doing the same things, they're going to start dropping off, so then there may be some peer pressure to keep saying, hey, don't, peer pressure to do things aren't productive in the life that you're leading. That's what I was saying. Did that make sense?
Kind of.
Too many words? Am I doing too many words? Let me think. As you go through life, you're going to get better, or other people are going to get better, and they're going to no longer be your people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if everybody's the same, you'll be your people all your life. Doubt that's going to happen. You're 16. You're 16.
Yeah.
So at one point, either you're going to give somebody, potentially, you could give somebody pressure who's really taken off and you're jealous. And, inside of that, you're like, there's that, how people are,
Yeah. So you're saying like, oh, like, say me, like
pulling
I
them
get
back.
jealous of somebody who is doing really good, who's going like up in life, and I'm like not doing that yet.
So you still want to hang out with them and you still want to bring them back in. And so you pressure them to not leave them behind, so to speak, or not be left behind, so to speak.
So you're kind of pushing them down.
No. All right. So, this is one. Okay. Here's a really good challenge. We're going to spend a little time on this because we are not here. Let's get close up and personal. Let's look each other in the eyes
I'm
and
looking
say,
in your.
okay. So, in life, you're going to be a different person than you are right now. You'll be that different person all the way up, but you're going to be dramatically different in 5 years. What say you? Yes? No?
Yes.
Multiple word answer? Any of that?
Well, I don't not dramatically, but I will be different. I will have some
You will be dramatically different.
I don't think I'll be dramatically different. I think I'd just be smarter and like older.
That for sure. And more experienced and all those. Holy cow. Is that that's Jared. I thought it was Janelle. You know Janelle, right? From the music store.
Oh.
Blonde hair. Did the very last concert at the store ever had?
I was never there for any of the concerts.
No, I know that, but just another. Anyway, she was a teacher there. You know that. You may or may not know her, but I thought that's who was on. So I'm not pushing anybody down. So you will, to whatever degree, you will be different.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you have 30 good friends right now.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, 5 years is awful close here, but how many of those 30 friends do you think will still be you, or they will be considering you in their circle?
10 of them.
So 20. Okay, so the other 2/3 because of
life, family, job. Because I'm graduating in 2 years, so that's everyone's going to be figuring themselves out, and it's either they're going to be like staying at home, because I know people who've like graduated and they just kind of don't like, they don't even work, they kind of just stay at home. So it's either that or just like they're working on themselves, so they kind of distance themselves from you, and it's just kind of a natural thing that happens. It's not even no like harms where or somebody being rude. It's literally just people moving on and trying to do their thing.
Exactly. And that's where those people in your life will change. And then you go to another level, maybe a little bit later in life, where potentially somebody has that jealousy, that whatever, to wanna, so that your rising doesn't make them feel their own bringing them, being down. Anyway, let's move on from that. That's a thing that I can't quite put my finger on it, but I think what you just said was perfect. So we're gonna leave it on that. Fair enough. Jared. What role should parents play in shaping self-image? I want to go through a couple more of these, and then I want to get into a couple questions about schooling with you. Okay.
I feel like parents have to play roles in like all of self-image, because like, or most of self-image, because yes, you should still figure out things yourself, but there's a lot of things that's like helps your self-image, as in like communication and like just how to properly like handle things. Because if you have parents that like take out like, if you have parents that when they're upset they yell, that's how you're gonna be, so it's kind of like, how to explain this? Think like parents. No,
Go ahead. You trying to duck out of this? All right, let's here's the hand thing. You got your hand out? Do I got the right hand?
Wrong
Do I
side.
need to do it this way?
Okay,
This side?
wait. Yes.
Okay. So, um, parents have a really big effect, I think, on self-image. Not only, hey, you should feel your way about this, you should feel about yourself this way. And now we can put our hands down. I think we're ready. And now you here one more time. We need one more. Come on, let's go. All
Well,
right.
parents
And
not
that
even just self-image. They give you images on
it's about
literally
how what you
everything.
said. It's about what you said. That's why I was trying to get back to that. It's not only angry, but it's you're looking at the person who gave you life. If I'm a kid, literally the person responsible for you and has the most and only knowledge about you to that level. If that parent is, however, that parent is reacting to you and what you do, is going to be a deep effect. And that's why, what did we talk about last week, Emma? 70% of Americans are living with some sort of mental disease,
Hmm.
right? That's adults and children,
Hmm.
everybody. So when you get to a point of how do parents affect it, in my opinion, and then please comment on this, and then I'm gonna back up a little bit. You talk about what you want to talk about because I'm uh, I'm I'm very excited about how many people are coming to hear what you're having to say, and they certainly don't want to hear me chattering through 2/3 of it. So on this, um, it's the question is about what they tell you, you know, for self-image, but what you're talking about is that level that's really important. How you see them acting towards you at what you do gives you the self-image of how you expect the rest of the world to react, right? Because
Yeah.
they're your parents,
Yeah.
right?
But that also, it's not even how you expect the world to react. That's how you start reacting. Like if you have
True.
parents who act a certain type of way, that creates your kind of self-image of how like you should act and how you should be, because that's who the people who are raising you are like. So you have to have people
So
like
you know.
parents need to have like a healthy way of like communication and the way they express themselves and their opinions on things and um how they like um how others perceive them off of the way that they act, and they need that. He just left me, but he put another question up. Do schools really prepare teens for real
You know,
life?
I can hear you. Hey, you know, I can hear
I
you when you
know.
say
Oh,
stuff
I
like
know.
that. Okay, and
Do schools really prepare teens for real life today? I think a lot do. A lot do. Like the school that I'm going to now, they have like a lot of more opportunities for like cars and a lot of things that are like real life or like construction or stuff like that. But like the last school that I went to, it was literally just art, and that's not really, that's photography and stuff like that. That's not, yeah, you can make that into a job, but they're not teaching you for like taxes and all that stuff. I think it really depends on what
mm,
school you're at, because a lot of schools can help you. um from where I'm from and where most of my friends are from, they like they have schools for nursing, they have classes for nursing, they have classes for a bunch of things. They teach you about taxes, on how to get your first house, and how to literally just like prepare you for life. But a lot of schools don't do that, so it's like it's a on and off school system. Like the school system can be amazing and it can be really really bad.
is that you mentioned, and you've only lived in California, right? You were born and
Hmm.
raised there,
Hmm.
right? And so are you talking about what you were just talking about now? Basically, you've lived in a couple of different school districts. Are they dramatically that different from school to school and or district to district?
I think
Because
districts are different.
when why do you
It,
think so? What do you think behind that? I mean, or I don't know. I don't know if
well,
that's even a fair question. I'm
I
just
think
curious.
that for the last school that I went to for like a week, that school, it was like a charter school. So I feel like that had a lot of part in why it was different, because they don't have to follow rules even the district that they're technically in, they're their own entity. So they're basically not any district. They're themselves and they can go off of their rules and what they want to teach. Like they don't really have to apply to a lot of things and they can just do things themselves. They don't have to go from the district rules because they're their own entity.
They
So
just have to meet certain qualifications,
yeah,
right?
yeah. But that's why I think that it just depends on what school it is. It depends if it's like a big school or a really smaller school. I feel like smaller schools don't really teach you for real life things. Um, but like the school that
Do
I'm
you
going
think?
to, I,
No, finish your thought. Finish your thought. If I
the
stop, just go. It's
the
yeah.
school that I'm going to, I feel like they have a lot of more like things for people if like you want to work on cars or do construction or stuff like that.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed, and you bring up an excellent point because for the kids growing up, and for even when I was, the structure is kind of the same. And when you go into a school, you look for things like that. Exactly, the size of the school, how big is the lab class, how many teachers per student. All of those are things that will aid in helping to prepare somebody for life, like you said, like
Mhm.
getting jobs in certain areas. They have those. Uh, what were we talking about the other day? Woodworking and metal, and those type of classes. One thing I'm really kind of starting to lean into the school system about, and you and I talked about this, and what we're starting to propose with Mangum here as being, in this case, a different kind of charter, but a test place for a concept that could scale globally. And you and I have talked on our first couple of our shows were about that. And it's the rejuvenation of the school system, because in preparing for school, you should also be starting to learn where your interests are starting out of the gate, and getting feedback as far as who you are, and having these kind of talks throughout the school as you grow, and thus preparing for school. Do you mind, or preparing for life, do you mind if I spend 2 seconds and go into camera 4 here and look at a couple things I'm just kind of talking about there? Just to react, and then because I think a lot of the next ones are about school and so forth, and I just want to kind of go into that. So is that all right?
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to you about this before, but we had a thing with our time, so I'm sorry for springing this on you. How are we doing on time? Hold on, before we get into that,
Almost 40
how are we
minutes.
doing on, huh?
Almost 40 minutes.
You know what, I'll do this after. Hey guys, you're gonna have to wait. We're yeah, I have a dog. Did you guys hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Daisy, stop. I have my studio door open. Okay, so we've got 10, 15, 18 questions. Why don't you take them?
Take them?
You
Like,
got it. Read it. I'm going to click through them with you, and that way we can kind of get
okay,
some
do you want
stuff
me to just
dialed in there.
read some random ones or?
Yeah, however you want to do it. I've been too much of the show. I got a little overdone here. So how do you want to do it?
Okay.
Get everyone, or do you want me to click on them? It's up to you.
Uh, I'll read them. Okay. How can teachers better support creativity in students? It depends on the student itself, because a lot of students aren't creative. Like I'm not a creative student. I don't really like art or drawing or things like that. So if a student isn't like creative, but that's not like that's different. That's different because like I'm not a very creative person like per
I
se
got you.
myself. Like so it kind of depends or like the type of creativity that they have because everyone has a little bit in them, but like it just depends. I don't know. I don't really know how to answer that question because it's just
It's a great question.
I'm not a creative person like myself with all that. Um should schools teach more about life skills instead of tests? Yes, I think so. Absolutely. I think that tests can be good from time to time, but like having a test every week is kind of insane to me because that drops your grade a lot because test is so much higher than like anything else. And a lot of people aren't good test takers. Like a lot of people really are terrible test takers, and that brings down their grade. And then when they go into life and they want to like go to college, their grades are low and they can't really get into a good college because of the tests and the grades and all that. And I just feel like it'd be better if they just taught more about life schools and things that really matter because they're just teaching about like 6 subjects and like 4 out of the 6 kind of don't really matter at the end of the day. Like it's just not really needed.
Well, not only that, but I think Jack also, to his point, I think it's almost like you go to school to learn how to answer the questions on the upcoming test or quiz.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of school versus learning about yourself, your what are your desires? What are your, what makes you what makes you grow from the inside out, right?
Yeah.
You got to have math, you got to have science. Nothing against those, although I think some of those aren't necessarily you're going to use, but that's how school needs to be rejuvenated, right? Get
Mm-hmm.
more into that versus just go to the class to learn how to take a test so you can pass it and get your grade to hopefully go to college and go through the whole thing, same thing over again. At the end of the day, what are you really learning? Not only not about yourself. I mean, we've just gone through a whole where they're investigating themselves in school and it went really into this whole thing that's very political now. I don't even want to get into that, but that whole thing should be just sent over and say, okay, how do we with consultation, following you through and following the track. I'll get into this after you're gone, but that's the thing also we got to get more into is back to making better children, a stronger middle class, a greater America. Go ahead.
I don't know if we're gonna have time for all the questions.
All right. Let's see. Real quick, let me do this.
Okay. Okay.
What's that? You got
Yeah.
5 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are role models
Are
on
the-
social media helping or hurting teens? Both. Because a lot of like social media, like people, they'll like be supportive and positive, or they'll help you on things that like I've seen like people like help you on things that you're like not learning at school, like life skills. But like a lot of other people are just really negative and they put that negative like personality to you, and it's just it depends on what side of social media you're on. So social media is so good but so terrible at the same time.
Clive, thank you very much for that. Clive's got another one here. Is vaping becoming a bigger issue than parents realize?
um I feel like it's always been a problem.
It
I feel
has
like
for a long time.
like smoking and drugs have always been a problem, and I feel like a lot of parents don't take it as seriously as it is, I guess. But like it's just
Yeah.
I feel like it's always been just a big problem. Even the last generation, the generation before me, I think that it's always been just a giant and big problem because there's just been people who've been addicted for years and years and years, and like our family, like
10
just
years.
it's terrible. I think it's always been a problem. I don't think it makes it any different with this generation. I think it's always been a problem.
Yeah, that's a hand down thing. Couple, one question and 2 quick comments that you can read. I'll read this one from Gerard, if you don't mind. What is the way teens can stand strong against peer pressure?
Just saying no. Don't like sure like if somebody's trying to peer pressure you to do something, stand on no. Stand on
Yeah.
business. Stand on no.
Yeah.
Just stand on that. Literally just stand on that. Don't be like don't make yourself like seem like an easy person where you're like, well, maybe like that's what you do with peer pressure.
I
You're like,
don't
oh,
really
well,
want
maybe.
to. I'm not
No, just be
sure.
like, no, no. Because then it's like, okay, they
You
don't
sound
want
like your
to.
mom.
Like, I get that a lot sometimes. Like, there's certain people who tell me they're like, you sound like your mom. And I'm just like, okay. I'm around her
Why
so
don't
much.
you?
Like, we talk all the time. We just combined into one.
Exactly right. Read what Allie's got to say here, would you?
Great job, Emma and Rod. Awesome host. Thank you.
And then what's Danny got for you here?
Thank you for giving teens a real voice. You're so needed. Thank you.
Well, Emma, why don't you? I heard somebody a couple of times whispering at you and saying, "Hey, hey, hey." So why don't you jump off? I appreciate you stayed on longer than you could afford, and I'll finish up the show. Why don't you have a wrap up, wave to everybody, and then kick yourself out?
Okay. Thank you for the
And
questions and thank you for your time, Grandpa. I had a very good time this evening. I'll talk
yes,
to you soon. Love you and have a good day. Bye
love
bye.
you. See you on the other side. Bye. All right, there she is. She ought to be kicking out of here in any second. Wait. Oh, okay. Yep, she's gone. So there we are. We just went through 6 shows, and this is the 6th. And I was wrong the other day. I said with our last host, I said we were celebrating our 315th show. Oh, I didn't tell Emma that. Actually, that was our 315th show, streamed live since September 17th, Constitution Day, 2024, not even a year ago. We have all of our lanes in place as far as how we're moving ahead. I want to get into a couple things here, not too long, not too much, but I met with a gentleman by the name of Ben, very big, huge, blah. I would never even joke with him about throwing him in the green room. I just like bounce off of him without him even trying. He's like the Hulk in open life. Anyway, nice guy, great guy. We had a couple of conversations about doing something, and I want to bring up. Let's see if this one is the right one. Sorry, guys. Here we go. I'm going to put it on camera 4 now, so you guys are seeing camera 4. I got to go back to it. Sorry. I was just making sure. So that's what we're seeing. This is not a document that's going out. I have a 10-page doc. This is a series of documents that I've been working on, and some with the earlier stages with Emma. I think this one does not have. It does not. But basically, I only wanted to bring this up for the very first part of this, because what this is for briefing sheets for when we get to a point where, and I anticipate that happening. The fact that the educational system is going through restructuring. Now, I've heard a couple of things back and forth on that, so I don't know if it's totally. I'm so happy. My back was killing me earlier. It still is, but it's manageable. And I think this just kind of makes you feel good, you know. So this is about it's called the Regeneration School Project, and basically what we're looking at doing is making some major effects to the school system, especially now as this generation and hopefully moving forward, the restructuring and the improvements, and then you couple that with Doge. And I want to bring up some key points here. Maybe not go down too far, but this is only a 2-pager. I've got a 12-pager that's a professional brief. I'm meeting with, hopefully I'm supposed to be talking to actually to Ben on Monday as a follow-up. I've sent him some information last week. We talked on Monday, sent something to him on Wednesday. On Friday, I did a follow-up. And today's Saturday, and hopefully tomorrow we'll have some conversations. You heard on the show what we want to do. And that's where, if you go down here to the core pillars, it's called Voices of the Table, or at the table. Oh, Voices of the Table. Voices at the Table. Weekly youth empowerment. Empowerment gathering. Teens at the with their peers mention. Wow, my eyes are really bad. Share openly and are heard. Every participant. Now, this is part of the thing. I don't know how. I mean, I'm just spitballing here. So they have an impressive school lunch program. We could actually, I don't know if people are going to want to show up first time they ever heard about it, or not hear about it for a while, or go, what is that? I don't, because not everybody watches the show here in Mangum. Although surprisingly enough, a lot of people are really subscribing. It's great. It's fun. It's enjoyable. Hopefully it means something. And this is what we're doing this for. So we have the core pillars, the voices at the tables, the Emma, Lynn, and Grandpa Rod doing our show, but downtown at one of the areas that we talked about earlier, at that beautiful conference room with children, with teenagers coming in, with their parents coming in, and sitting down, maybe having a sandwich and some juice or whatever the case is, and asking Emma, along with the live, you see the live people, we had 350 people on today. Well, I don't know how many we have on now because I'm on camera 4. So you can hear me, you just can't see me because you're seeing this. So voices at the table. And then we, so these are about so for the first 3 months is this first pillar, so let's say we start, and then for about 3 months, we just do what we did today, continuing to do what we're doing today. Maybe adding some additional effects like what I was able to pull in here on this camera thing. But a lot better than before. Remember, I was doing also screen sharing, and it was crazy difficult, but you learn a lot when you start doing things, because this program is about building the adult and the child from within. This show, we are always talking about making a stronger American person, or any person, by extension, the world, of course, at least the free world. I'm really excited about how this, and it's just coming, it's just coming, and it's flowing, and people are jumping on board and are listening. It's not like everybody's just flocking, but this is a movement of the voices. We're up to over 16,600 views over the last 28 days. A month or two ago, it was like 10,000 views. And obviously before that, but I mean, we are growing very, very well. And the message is getting across, and the movement is really getting momentum. So, as that first step, we continue doing that, obviously, because that's the core. That's the proof that it works. If you have this small little show, of which this lane is giving the voice to the teenagers of today, and if that's given, then you have a person who feels like there's something more. Kids are lost. High suicide rate, high depression, bullying, all these issues that we talk about on the show. Kids don't really have a voice necessarily, even at home, except for most. And I wasn't one of them. I got lucky that there was enough there that, and their mom, that the boys turned out pretty good, but not with, yeah. So, the next year, my sister and I both made a comment to each other when we were kids. And I think most people out there, if you listen to what I'm saying right now, if you hear what I'm saying right now, I think most children have said to themselves or their friends, after saying to themselves or their siblings, I'm going to make it better here. These things aren't going to continue on in our generation, our family generation, our Chris likes to call generational wealth, but that's a whole nother thing. That's all he talks about. The ability to, and my sister and I both made that pact. And it's funny because what does that change look like? And you don't even really know it until they get a little bit older and like your age, and they look back and say, okay, what did we do? So at the end of the day, there's these three phases of the first year, or actually year and a half. And that's just building or looking at and proofing the pilot program. So you've got voices at the table, people from Mangum, kids, adults, they come in to this place, which hasn't even near been secured or anything like that yet. And there's a lot of technical issues I got to figure out because, man, moving this, I'm a one-man operation. I'm a little scared about moving stuff once a week out of town, but I can't afford another, I don't know, however many thousands of dollars here. My book says 10 to 15,000 for maintenance and additional equipment, but that's maybe I don't have to. I don't know what they have there. Actually, now that I think about it, it may just have to be a different look. We'll play around with that. That's a good idea, guys. Thank you. And then we have the healing and guidance track. So then we start bringing in, churches. They're very involved churching here, and there's like a lot of churches here too, and they actually get together and do common things because they know they're different dialects, let's call it, but they also know that they're serving the same great community, all of them, whether they're in their pew that week or not. And so then you have the fifth core subject, healing and guidance. I should get on that a little bit more. Healing and guidance brings these people in. People were asking today, financial literacy. Even Emily got onto that. We've had two people in the last 2 months. We've had two people that are teaching their children about investing, about money, about financial independence, about starting jobs. That's the kind of thing that needs to be in the school system instead of finding if you're the right person in your body or not. Because I guarantee you, this will eliminate the other desire. Let me back off of that. Certainly the push towards it or the inclination will drop dramatically. So then helping we heal traumas. We talked about where does self-image come from in kids? The parents a lot, the home, and where does that come from? Their home, on and on and on. That's why I said my sister and I made a pact. I don't know how it's all going yet, but let's see. Science, history, English, and math. These are the fifth core is this. There's science, English, math. There's these important core subjects just to make your brain smarter. And Emma said you don't use them later in life. And I agree, a lot of them you don't. But you know what they do? They create those learning, but the way they do it in school doesn't do that. That's what's so frustrating because the way they do it in school is, like I said, all they're doing is teaching you to get math test scores. That's stupid. It creates stupidity. And then adult continuation community schooling. This is what's really important when I get into about adults. Parents and adults re-engage through classes in parenting, communication, and job skills. So basically what the kids are learning from going into school all the way through being tracked by AI. There's a whole program here. Why in Oklahoma? Why now? There's a lot of more to this, but I just kind of wanted to touch on a couple things. Here we are. We're in Oklahoma. Representative Center's back to Mangum pilot and spotlight on it nationally. State legislators to align with school and community resources with the project. National policymakers, including Trump, the Trump administration, the educational czar, the administration for the Secretary of Education and beyond. all of those things are things that need to be at some point. This day, what time is it? We're past an hour. I hope you guys are good with that. Let me come back off of this. I'll switch over to camera 1 and I'm back. How you doing, folks? Let me go over and look myself here. And so as Danny was saying, it's a voice that's needed. And this initiative we have is a teen self-improvement, a teen's voices mission or project, teen voices project. And talk at the table. We can maybe bring some food in and encourage more to come in and sit around and enjoy a conversation. It'd be like, I like to describe this show, and I would envision this to be similar. At first I envision one-on-one, but maybe there's 4 or 5 people that come in, 2 or 3, they sit around. Imagine yourself at a friend's party back in the day. And, it's whether it's adults or kids, whatever, you're sitting on the couch and you're chatting with this person. It's like the show. You've heard me talk about this on the show. You're talking to this person about this subject you're both really interested in. And I'm asking you questions about it because you're giving me information, and it's really fascinating. That's the kind of thing I was interested in. And then our friends on, in the couch, and they start leaning in a little bit and going, oh, what are they talking about over there? And then they hear it, they start asking questions. Then you heard me use the Perel commercial a few times, and so on and so on and so on. And that's kind of what's going on here at teens at Teens at the Table, Talk at the Table. That's what this is about. It's like, you heard some of the questions today. Some of those are teens, some of them are adults. Last show we had probably more teens than adults, I think, that time. But anyway, this is really something that needs to keep moving along and making happen. I'm going to actually call a friend of mine that's gone through the political system. Another friend of mine, big rancher in Texas, I was talking to earlier. I said, hey, why don't you call so-and-so? And I said, oh, you're a genius. I didn't even think about that. Good friend from back in the day. We've been together forever. Emma and I were talking about people that will stay with you and who you move on from or move on from you over time. Not that you'll never catch back up again, but that's the way the life is. And that's the beauty of this program, is that we get the opportunity to sit here and chit chat and go over things and talk about what the great American middle class needs. And then through those, start working on the solutions, because we're not here just to complain and talk. We're here to say, start doing this, start doing that, because, that's what Insights and Straight Talk's all about. And, if I'm in here, I keep, we need to keep building this, because I'm out building it. Bye.
Before you leave, if you'd like to watch another one of the podcasts, click the first link in the description. We love having you here, and we appreciate all your support.
And with that, producer Barbie and I are out.